Sometimes we go immediately to something very formal and structured and educational when it comes to music. We know television and series use music a lot, children's programming, and there's a real place for music in those instructional, educational moments for sure.
Mhm.
But what I like to remind families and home environments is more on the sharing memories that can come from music.
Hello, and welcome to Forever Home for Our Kids with Disabilities. I'm Valerie, mum to two with disabilities, one visible, one invisible. I'm a life coach and an author. This space has been created to help you navigate the journey of creating a secure, sustainable forever home for your child. We'll chat with parents on this path, realtors, financial planners, and other experts who can make the process easier. Why am I so passionate about this? Because seeing my eldest thrive living independent of us was a gift I didn't always know I could give. I want you to have the opportunity to explore giving that gift to your child. Welcome to this episode of Forever Home for Our Kids with Disabilities. I so appreciate you being here and for sharing these episodes with families who need to hear what we share here in this space. Love hearing from you, so keep those comments coming in. Today we have Jennifer Buchanan with us. Jennifer is a certified music therapist with over 3 decades of experience and the founder and president of JB Music. I just have to interject here that Jennifer does not look like she has been doing this for 3 decades. Just saying, just saying. All right. So Jennifer's team helps support individuals and groups across the lifespan from infancy to
Mm.
elder care, working in medical, educational, and workplace wellness settings. The organization delivers more than 20,000 music therapy sessions annually. Wow, congratulations.
Mm.
And in recognition of this work, JB Music Therapy received the 2025 Patient Experience Award from the Health Quality Council of Alberta.
Mm.
She serves as a director at the National Music Centre and as an affiliate member of the Matheson Centre for Mental Health Research and Education. Jennifer is the author of multiple books, including Wellness, Well Played, with many of the book's exercises now being adapted into Canada's first music therapy informed digital health platform designed to transform healthcare, recovery, and well-being. Welcome, Jennifer. So glad you're here.
Thanks, Valerie, for inviting me.
So, Jennifer,
Mm.
please tell us how you came to become a music therapist and how you came into the world of people with disabilities.
Oh, so it all started when I was a young person. I was a tween,
Mhm.
and my granddad had his second major stroke. He was not able to walk, he was not able to talk. He was placed in an unfamiliar extended care hospital in Surrey, British Columbia.
Mhm.
And while he was there and the family was feeling awkward and not sure how to communicate with this man we had all known prior to being quite a force and someone who in my world was on the grumpy scale. He was always that little bit grumpy. So I didn't have a strong connection to him. And now, you're feeling awkward. And it would be Granny who would ask me to come in the following Friday and sing Granddad's favorite song, which sounds so incredibly simple, especially now. But at the time, it felt very odd. First of all, I didn't know that grumpy people had favorite songs. And just bringing in my guitar that I was very fortunate to be learning in public school was something incredibly new. So what ended up happening was I did go in the following Friday. I did go in and end up singing his favorite song, which was White Cliffs of Dover by Vera Lynn. And so a real older song, even older now. And things happened like the screaming lady down the hall, someone we didn't know very well, came closer and closer, and instead of screaming, she's now singing. And the wandering guy who's wandering around the hospital setting wandered right on in and sat right beside me. And I'm feeling like I don't know what's going on, but something is happening. And that moment led to many more Friday nights, many more singing with a variety of people coming from a variety of backgrounds with a variety of abilities. And they became family. And then I would say 5 years later, my granny heard about this profession called music therapy. And I went off to university and ultimately became a certified music therapist. Yeah.
Beautiful story, Jen. Beautiful
Oh.
story. Thank you so much for sharing that. I had no idea. So I'm learning as well, audience, as you are.
It was pretty incredible. We have to do 1,000 hours of internship after our university degree. And I had an opportunity to come to Calgary. I'd never been here before. There was only one other music therapist in all of this area. And so I was, so grateful to be able to intern with her. And as soon as I finished my internship and decided ultimately I wasn't going back home, I just loved being in Calgary and the networks and the connections here. My very first client was a place called Scenic Bow Legion Group Home 104. And it was shortly after Alberta decided that the institution life for
Mhm.
our kids and adults with disabilities is the wrong direction. And we're creating home like environments. And I can remember going to this home, which felt like a home with pretty young people with disabilities. I'd say they were all under 14, like they were super young. And I was so nervous to meet them because it was my first session working outside of, some form of supervision. So I practiced super hard and I went and I was able to spend time with them, and that was the beginning, and they became my teachers as to how to become as a music therapist. So that's the full journey into it.
Wow, love
Yeah.
it, love it. And I'm always curious as to how people kind of come into the world of
Mm-hmm.
disability. So just thank you so much for sharing that story. And so glad to hear that, Alberta did move from the institution to creating a more home-like setting, which,
Mm-hmm.
as you know, we've been able to do for our daughter, and just
Mm-hmm.
loving that for her, and the fact that we've been able to do that for a couple of other young ladies to give them
Love
that
that.
chance of being independent of their parents, but going to a home-like setting where they can still have that
Mm-hmm.
home feel.
Mm-hmm.
So, Jen, can you share a little bit about the science of music and how it impacts us?
Yeah, there's a lot of things that we were seeing in our sessions prior to the science. So, one of the nice things about being in this work for so long is I was engaged before the MRI machine and the CT scans and all the music science started coming. So, it's been nice to see how the science now is able to give language around what we've been witnessing for decades prior to that. And what we do know is that music is a global brain process. And
Mm,
that's quite significant because a lot of our senses and behaviors are not as global as music. Actually, what we believe to date is that there's no other activity that lights up more areas of the brain at the same time than when we listen to music that matters to us. So, why that is so incredible, because music doesn't care if there's a part of your brain that
Mhm.
maybe is not as strong as another area of the brain because it will reroute. It will find another place. And it also loves to latch on to all the places that are strong in you. And not only that, because of neuroplasticity and growth, as kids that we're growing and
Yeah.
our brains aren't fully formed, I believe they're saying till 28 now. Music has this incredible capacity to help us continue growing and developing new neural pathways and helping us restore some of the ones that maybe along our journey have
Mhm.
broken a bit or become more fragile. So, music is incredible in that way, and we see it in a lot of experience. We see it when people will say, like a situation with my granddad who has had a stroke, and now some of the words, even though he was no longer able to talk, he was able to sing some of the words again. Or someone with dementia that we just feel has the memory now, you just visit them time and time again, and you're not sure if they're very aware of the moment they're in, and yet they remember every word to every song. So we have constant examples of how
Mhm.
music is able to tap into this incredible brain of ours. But I like to also remind people that it's not just neuroscience, it's also our nervous systems. And I'm
Mm.
sure that many of us have had that moment where music has been a sure friend during a difficult time, has helped us calm down, but has also helped us ramp up when we needed to do that exercise we needed to do.
Yes. Great. I love that. I'm thinking about, yes, ramping up when we need to do things that we need to do. So I have my playlist of music that's just going to move me and groove me and just energize me. And then I also have my playlist where I need to just chill. I just need to relax.
Totally.
Need to become reflective. So I love the fact that music can speak to us, whatever we're dealing with at that time. There's different types of music, different types of genre that will minister to us.
I completely agree. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So Jen, tell me, I've heard that
Mm,
it's it's been said over and over that music
mhm,
is universal language. Would you agree
mhm.
with that?
Yes and no. So, no, in the way that when it comes to a universal language, that means it's something we universally all understand.
Mhm.
And we recognize that preferences matter. And we may not relate to somebody else's music choices. We
Mhm.
also, our ear may not actually quite understand a tonality of a different place in the world's music because their scale is very different than our scale. So it takes us a minute for us to adapt to these different grooves of music and tones of music. So if you think of Middle Eastern music or Asian music, it can sound very foreign to our ears. So in that case, it's not truly
Mhm.
universal.
Right.
It is, though, a universal art form. It means that there is no place on the planet, there is no community where people are, where there is not music. And to
Mhm.
me, that is one of the most comforting, special knowings that I have come across, and how ancient it is from the very first beating drum to the very first carved flute to, the first harmonies and singing that happened in community. We have that in common. And again, a lot of research suggests we were singing before we were speaking. So it's in our DNA. So that's why I always say we are not, as people, as humans, allowed to
Mhm.
say we are not musical. You may not be a performer,
Right.
but you are musical. It is in your DNA. And it is one of our things that makes us uniquely human.
Hmm. Okay. I'm just thinking of my brother.
Who you're not sure if he's human or musical.
Right. Could be both. Could be both. Um, but I remember him telling me he was dating a lady that is into music in a lot of ways.
Mm,
Drumming, like a big variety, lots a big percussionist and
mm,
also sings. And so my brother, during his time with her, had started to develop that sense of hearing,
mm.
and started to believe through being with this young lady that he actually had the ability to pick up on harmonizing, and
Yeah, yeah.
always said that he was never a musician, that he
Right.
didn't really understand music. But I love that you've said that we all have it in us, and I'm just grateful for him that he had the
Yeah.
opportunity to have that explored and to be able to realize, you know what, yeah, I do have
Yeah.
music in me, that I can make music, that I can hear tones, I can hear harmonies, I can create melodies. And yeah,
Totally.
so it's just been amazing to see him develop
Yeah.
that way.
Yeah. And I have to say that we've had a lot of young music therapists come and work in our company, Valerie, and not everyone's a vocalist. You go into music therapy and you might be a pianist first or played clarinet and saxophone, and that was your primary instrument, but singing hasn't been necessarily a part of your music background.
Mhm.
And it's amazing through the practice and the repetitive use of developing certain muscles and tones where you really can notice 5 years later, wow, their voice has truly developed over that time. So I've seen it within musicians as well, just change and evolution in what they're able to share with the
Mhm.
world. So, yeah.
Yeah. This brings me to a lady. I just actually mentioned this to her the other day. So when I interviewed people to come and work with my daughter, Melody Ann, our oldest,
Yeah.
I would always say to them, and just so you know, if you are considering taking this position, if you're offered it, that you will have to sing.
Prerequisite. I love that. Yeah. Yeah.
And so I preface it with Melody Ann does not care if you sing
Mm,
on tune, just as long as you sing. And
mm,
I love that Melody Ann just appreciates any kind of music, whether it be the voice, whether it be an instrument.
mm.
But I just remember this particular woman's face who did actually come in working with us, looking at me like deer in headlights, as if I was off my head.
So good. And I just love that her name's Melody Ann. Like it's just perfect.
And for her, yes. And the story behind that, Jen, if you are interested, is
I
when I
am.
was carrying her, Scott was
Hmm.
learning to play the violin.
Oh.
And so he would practice. And of course, it was a little painful initially, but he got good fairly quickly.
Right? Speaking of practicing, yes.
Yes.
It's great.
But when I could feel her moving, she would kick when Scott played the violin.
Hmm.
So we knew that music was something very important to her. And so Scott would play the guitar
Mm-hmm.
for her. He would play
Mm-hmm.
the violin that he was practicing. He also plays harmonica. He plays a few instruments. But he
Mm-hmm.
would play for her while she was in the womb, and she would kick every time he played something. As you know, she probably was kicking when I couldn't feel it.
Oh, that's so
So we
great.
knew her name needed to be Melody.
Mm.
And then my middle name is Anne, so that's how it came to be Melody Ann. And so people try to shorten her name, but I just say Melody Ann. It's a beautiful name for a beautiful
It's
girl.
beautiful. Oh, I love that. Yeah, it is a beautiful name for a beautiful girl. Truly. Love.
So just want to preface to our audience who are
Mm.
listening that Melody Ann has been a student of JB Music Therapy for many, many years. And
Right.
I still have a picture of Melody Ann's strumming the guitar at one of your camps when she was probably about 4 years
Oh,
old. It's on my freezer in my laundry room, so I still look at that every day.
right. Oh, beautiful.
All
Oh.
right. So Jen, my dad
Mm.
played guitar when I was growing
Hmm.
up.
Yeah.
I remember one of the songs
Hmm.
he used to play for us, and we used to sing along was, How much is that dog
Dog
in the
in the
window?
window. That's great.
A lot of people listening may not know what I'm
Mm.
talking about, but that was one of the songs my dad used to play for us as we were growing up. So, can you tell us about the importance of having music in the
Hmm.
home?
Right. So sometimes we go immediately to something very formal and structured and educational when it comes to music. We know television and series use music a lot, children's programming, and there's a real place for music in those instructional, educational moments for sure.
Mhm.
But what I like to remind families and home environments is more on the sharing memories that can come from music and bringing in music again on a fairly regular basis for specific events or specific moments in time to help solidify memories. And music and memory are just so deeply interconnected. We can manipulate it in that way to help really frame memories, be it sing-alongs during the holiday season. You
Mhm.
know, every year you get out the songbooks, you play, some music, either streaming it or someone has a guitar, and the family remembers that. That's what you've done. One of the things we've also started around the Thanksgiving table is what music have you been drawn to lately? And
Mm.
using that as a discussion point from the 7-year-old to the 77-year-old. What music have they been listening to? Why they and you get to know people and it opens up discussion in a new way. It can also be setting the tone of your home. I don't know if anyone else out there struggled with mornings when the kids were little, but I gotta say, the mornings were tough, or any time where you're having to get anybody ready to get off to school. That is like, and work. So you're going to work, people are going to school. It can be a feelings, a bit of chaos. And where we used music when the kids were little was putting a timer on the stereo in the living room so it would turn on before people would go downstairs. So then the family would enter into the tone that we wanted to start the day on. It wasn't perfect, it never is. We're talking about humans, but it was an opportunity for us to put some effort into setting some form of tone in the home. Yeah.
Mhm. Wow. Interesting you say that. I would never have considered or thought about setting the tone of the home in the morning. Because, yes, mornings are chaotic. When I
Tough.
think about
Tough.
us getting ready,
Oh,
Melody Ann ready to go on the school bus and
yeah,
getting the younger one ready to leave the
totally.
house, we had to start our routine at like 6:30. And it took a little while, but Scott and I got it down to a science where we were like machines working to get Melody Ann's personal care done, her chest therapy done, give her nebulizer, do worship with her,
So
and then
much.
do her stretches and get
Right.
all of that
Right?
done. Plus feed her, and then the little
Yeah.
one as well, same sort of thing, but not as much medical
Yeah.
intervention, but getting them ready as well. And
Yeah.
oh my goodness, I never considered, and I love that idea, setting the tone with the music. Now we had music as part of the
Mm-hmm.
worship because Scott would play the guitar, we would
Oh,
sing.
that's lovely.
Actually, we still sing them to her, to Melody Ann, the same 5 songs that we sang as she was a baby.
Forever memories, Val. Forever memories. Yeah.
Yes. And
Love
she still
that.
appreciates, she still asks us using a communication device. She'll say Jesus songs. She wants Dad to get the
Oh,
guitar when we visit, and she wants to go through her worship songs.
beautiful. Beautiful.
But I love that idea of setting the tone. I love that
Yeah.
setting the tone.
Yeah, and linking it to the memories just as you have done. And so the message here would be if in your family that's something you don't feel you're anchored to as much as to music as a family, as a sharing moment, it will assist with creating some of those memories and solidifying them.
Yes, yes. So one of the things we used to do when the children were very little, helping them get off to sleep, would be just listening to some classical music. So do
Mm.
you have any thoughts on that, Jennifer?
Yeah, I have thoughts in just the scope of music in general, including classical music and different genres. So I feel that if we are wanting to promote growth and growth mindsets and expansive living, looking at the wealth of strengths that all our kids have with all abilities,
Hmm.
exploring diverse music
Mm,
is pretty powerful. And not all of it is going to be something that you necessarily like, but it's something to explore and then look for something else. And one of the things I put together in my last book was I went on an exploration to find out all the different styles of music that people
mm,
listen to. And I was surprised. how much there is out there to explore.
Mm.
And so, classical music, for sure, even within classical, there is
Mm.
so much diversity. I very much love Eric Satie. He
Mhm.
is someone who, when I hear his music, it immediately calms me. But there's a
Mhm.
lot of classical music that I just find very self indulgent. And that's just how I feel about it. Some people love it, and I go, I don't know. That's just not my style. I just went to a live music. This is another thing around exploring new music. Going live is amazing. I
Mhm.
just went to Hans Zimmer and not realizing that he started as purely as synth person. He just played synthesizer, and now we have all this incredible music that has come through movies. And although maybe not classical, it can be seen as classical-esque, and it can certainly feel that way when the Philharmonic's playing it.
Mm.
So it was really, really beautiful. So I love that level of exploration. I really encourage families, again, focusing on the development of ourselves, the development of our brains, exploring different world music, different world grooves. I also find a lot of reflection when it comes to reggae music for me. You know, I listen
Mhm.
to what's called a reggae flow, and it's a very low key, easygoing, and it doesn't just take me on to vacation in my mind, although that's true too. But it does help me feel just more regulated and more calm. So finding our different grooves, I think, can be incredibly important.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
And I love how you brought up the regulation because as a parent,
Hmm.
until I started this podcasting journey, I never really understood that I needed to be regulated too. So now putting that with music and
Totally.
why I have the different playlists for whatever my need might be at the time, it might be that I need to be regulated. And so I love that, but I also love the fact that music can also be used to regulate our children. And I think we do it intuitively as parents, sometimes not really understanding why. So now
Yeah.
I have more of an understanding of why. I definitely see the importance
Yeah.
of utilizing music wherever we can so that
Mm.
we can speak to our children, and as you say, help them with that
Mm.
development and
Hmm.
also give them a way of expression. Because I
Yeah.
think with music, it also invites movement.
Yeah.
So when you put the two together, it's an opportunity for
Yeah.
expression.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. So
Lovely.
Jen, where can families plan to have music as part of their child's life? How can they do it? Where can they fit it into their child's life?
Yeah. So, though we're talking about children today, we're all aging. So,
Yes.
this is all about aging,
Yeah.
aging well at every stage of life. So, some of the things we've already talked about. If you're not someone who goes out to live music very often,
Mhm.
I would set that as a bit of a goal. I would set that as, we're going to, instead of just seeing live music twice a year or 3 times a year, I'd like to see us explore it more like 6 or 10 times a year. As a family, doing that. When you go to any of the incredible functions that we can go around, often music is a part of that, and you might pass a busker or a live musician, stopping, giving it a minute, allowing yourself to take in one complete song, because often we just walk by.
Mhm.
So that's one thing that I would suggest in getting used to just stopping for music.
Mhm.
Another one is another thing that you're doing so well, which is putting together different playlists for different reasons and taking moments to do that. I have this one exercise that is in the last book called Wellness Well Played. It's also in the workbook, and I can also share it with everyone afterwards because it's about identifying when you feel your best self versus not so good self. And you
Mhm.
look at yourself in the course of a day and where in your day could you use a little bit of a boost,
Yeah.
and finding that one place and then putting together a very specific playlist just for you for that time, because we also know as parents, as caregivers, we we really do have to look after ourselves if we're going to continue caring and at a high level. And we want to care at a high level. And music is something that can fuel us. So I always encourage that for parents and caregivers. And that's one example of doing that. So very structured playlists, exploring new music, going out to live music. Those are all very powerful tools. And finally, learning an instrument. It doesn't matter how old you are. Actually, in some ways, learning an instrument older in life is wonderful because you can learn the same three guitar chords that kids can learn, but you put so much more emotion behind it, it just sounds better. So I encourage adults, and not to be afraid if you can't learn 27 chords, learn the three chords. Play the 257 songs that have three chords in them. Sing, hum, whatever it is, bring some music more in your life and know that it is in your DNA and it is something that's incredibly healthy for you.
Love it. Thank you. So, audience, I hope you're taking notes. Right. So, Jennifer, where can our audience go to find out more about you?
The best place is our company website, which is jbmusictherapy.com, and come and visit us there. You can join our newsletter from there. You can see videos. You can read up on information. You can send us contact information if you're wanting more information, whatever you need. We also are sharing more information about our new digital health platform that we're in development right now. And we were recipients of an Alberta Innovation Grant to build it. So we are doing this as strong as we can, and hopefully it will be a good product for you, for your families. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much. I just want to highlight one of the programs that Jennifer does do with JB Music, and that is the Afternoon of Song.
Mm.
And the reason I'm bringing that up is I used to perform myself. I was a dancer years ago. And so being able to pass that on to my children, and I never ever thought that Melody
Mm.
Ann would perform.
Oh.
So the fact that she gets to perform at the Afternoon of Song once a year thrills my heart like you would not believe. It just fills my bucket, it fills me up. It's just been so beautiful to see the innovation of how to include Melody Ann and her voice and using instruments. And as you know, Jen, she loves to perform.
She loves to perform.
And
Wants to
so
be the star of the show, Val. It's great.
it has been just so lovely for me as a mom to be
Oh,
able to see my child up there performing
great.
and enjoying
Yeah.
it and bringing
Yeah.
joy to others who are listening.
Yeah. She's earned being there. She's worked hard.
Yes.
Yes.
So thank you so much for doing that and for giving many other families an opportunity to see their child perform and enjoy it. So just so grateful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Before we conclude our
Yeah.
conversation, I'd love to hear some words of wisdom or
Hmm.
encouragement for our parents who are raising children with disabilities. How can you sort of inspire them and give them a message of support?
The parents I know have to do a lot of advocating for their kids for quality of life and things that should not have to be earned at all. I would like to encourage all parents to continue advocating for their kids for full belonging in all things because you belong, all of you belong. And I think about what we're becoming as a society, what our children are becoming, what the parents are becoming. Like we're all becoming something. And becoming more of our strengths has always just made sense to me. Those little glimpses into our children, their movements, their being, their expression, their energy, as big or as small as it possibly is. Music's such a beautiful mirror to all of that and recognition of how important every part of that is in people. So I just want to encourage us to continue advocating for belonging
Mhm.
because you are becoming something so beautiful.
Thank you so much. Thank you so
Mm.
much. So, audience, I just want to encourage you to explore different types of music with your child, whether it be a little one, whether it be an older one,
Mhm.
and just embrace the fact that music is something that can allow your child to become and belong, as Jennifer says. And I just want you to embrace the fact that music is a lifelong thing. So when you set up your forever home for your child, make sure that music is a part of that because your child needs to continue their development, continue their growth, and continue on this road to belonging and drawing others into that belonging as well. So thank you so much, Jennifer. Thank you so much for being here.
Beautiful, Val. Thank you for having me.
Right. So, audience, I want you to remember to live with intention and embrace the journey. Thanks for joining me today on Forever Home for our kids with disabilities. I hope today's episode gave you something new to think about and it increased your confidence on your journey. If you found this episode helpful, do tell others about it. Use the text feature to let me know your questions. Tell me what you want to know. Until next time, take care and keep building your child's future.